Don't just stare, be aware. Have you ever seen people in ragged clothing with unshaved beards and untamed hair? How are you taught to perceive these people that sit on the sidewalk with cardboard signs asking for change? Have your friends, family, or the media told you that they were armed, dangerous, and ready to attack? Have you seen others make fun of them while walking by? Do you speed up to rush past them, avoiding eye contact? Or do you slow down and have a good time to stare? Let's explore the story of George, a 20-year-old homeless man. He had dropped out of high school at the age of 16 and has been homeless since he was 18. He had lost contact with his family and does not communicate with his old friends anymore. He struggles to sleep wherever he can and eat whatever he can find. This week, he has decided that he will save up to buy a new pair of shoes for the upcoming winter. On Monday, George finds a spot on the busy corner of Yonge and Dundas and begins to panhandle, asking strangers for money. After 8 hours, he managed to make $25 in total. Not too bad for George. Before heading back to the shelter for the night, he treats himself to a nice cup of coffee and a sandwich for dinner and felt very satisfied. Tuesday morning, George leaves the shelter to make money on the streets again. He goes back to his corner from yesterday but finds another man, Derek, in his spot. George tries to find a spot across the street from Derek, but Derek becomes verbally violent and forces George to go elsewhere. After hours of walking, George managed to find a less busier intersection. After 6 hours of panhandling, George noticed he had only made $6 in total, only a quarter of what he made on Monday. He decided it would be a waste of time to stay and decided to go back to the shelter. On his way, George bumps into Derek and is enraged at him for taking his spot. After a brief altercation, George throws a punch and the next minute the police shows up. George ends up being taken to an overnight jail and is charged with causing public disturbance. Wednesday morning, George is released from jail with the $600 fine. As he walks out of the police station and looks for a place to eat, he bumps into Derek once again. Not knowing Derek was armed, George lashes out once again to end up with multiple knife wounds. George is taken to the hospital via ambulance with life-threatening injuries. For the next 7 days, George is monitored within the hospital. Now, imagine there are more than 200,000 Georges within Canada per every given year. That's about 1.3 million Georges within the past 5 years. In addition, a study in 2013 by the Homeless Hub discovered that with the cost of every homeless person, the Canadian government spends an average of $7.05 billion every year. As people like George struggle to make money to buy food and other necessities, they begin to prioritize these necessities in life. For example, George may choose to starve for a whole day to save up to buy his new shoes because he would believe that that was more important. Although George can plan for his upcoming weeks, there is never a guarantee that he will be able to follow through with his daily plans. So why can't George just get a job, you say? Why can't George just make a resume, hand it into every job site in Toronto? Why doesn't George just stop being lazy, get his life together, and try? As a high school dropout, George does not have a completed high school diploma or any other formal education. As a homeless man, he doesn't have a permanent address or a phone number so that employers can contact him. Without a stable house, he has nowhere to stay when he is sick, tired, or hungry. He is unable to store his belongings in a safe place, nor able to maintain good hygiene without access to a reliable shower system. He doesn't have the support system of parents, siblings, or close friends that could provide guidance, support, and encouragement whenever he needs company. He doesn't have the same luxury as most people. So how can we help people like George? Before you start calling the next homeless man you see as crazy or a lazy bum, think about George and the difficulties he faced when trying to live a normal life. We need to understand that these people on the streets may have had very different experiences in the past than us and continue to face daily struggles that we have never faced before. We can create awareness to break the simple idea that these people can just get up and try to go get a job to fix their lives. We can recognize that these people are individual human beings that have had a childhood and had dreams for the future, like the rest of us. We can realize that nobody chose to not have a home purposely, that these people never purposely choose to sleep on cement floors or go days without food. We need to open our eyes to see that there is more to these individuals than their cardboard signs, untamed hair, and ragged clothing. They are unique individuals that have experienced a twist of events to end up with no home. We've all been taught as children to never judge a book by its cover. Why should this be different for people who don't have a home? Next time you walk by an individual having a difficult time on the street, offer them help or even just smile. You never know whose day you can make with a simple smile. So just remember, don't just stare, be aware.